So what is spray paint? Well, firstly, it's not actually called spray paint officially, it's called aerosol paint. But over time, it's ended up being called spray paint for obvious reasons. So what we have here is a pressurized aluminium can with a mix of paint and a propellant inside of it, which is usually a gas. When you push the cap at the top of the can, it opens up the valve inside, which releases the mix of paint and spray. There are two types of valve that can be found on a can of spray paint, male and female. I don't want to go into the human anatomy side of things, but it's pretty obvious. If it has a little kind of whistle thing sticking out the top like this, that is a male valve. And if it has like a hole in the top like this, that is a female valve. This is important to know later on when you're deciding what caps to buy for your spray paint. Now, one of the most important things is that your paint and propellant inside the can is mixed really well, which is why all cans on the back will encourage you to shake them heavily before using them. Inside of the can, there's either one or two little bearings. These are either glass or steel, and that creates the signature rattling sound inside of the can. So key takeaway number one, always shake your cans well. Something else that's really important when using spray paint is actually the temperature. These cans are designed to be used at ambient room temperature, but fluctuation in temperature can really affect the way they work. So when it's really hot, the can will actually over pressurize, and you can tell if it's really hot, you will like squeeze the can and it'll feel really pressurized. The heat also thins the paint out, which makes it come out at a super fine consistency. If you're painting on an overly hot day, it's not the end of the world, but it's when it's cold, that's when you need to pay attention. When the cans get super cold, they depressurize, so you don't get as much pressure coming out the cap, but also the paint becomes a lot thicker, so you end up with like a thick, gloopy consistency, and that is not fun to work with. So takeaway number two, make sure your cans are at room temperature. You can heat up the room you're spraying in if you're painting indoors, or if you're painting outdoors, I'd recommend getting a bucket of warm water and putting your cans in that warm water for about 10 minutes before you start painting. This will make a huge difference to how well your paint works.